Hey folks, my name's Ed Trevors. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest serving in the beautiful parish of St. Margaret of Scotland that sits on the ancestral and in the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Gwe. I recently found an interview. It's a new interview. I'll include a link to it in the comments, but it's an interview between Brosnan and a journalist. And Brosnan's in the new movie Black Adam, and so, like in all of those movies, the actors are asked to do these press junkets where the actor comes in, they sit down, they put the lights on them, they've got a poster behind the actor, and then they sort of parade interviewers in. The actor doesn't have to go anywhere. The interviewers come in and out. They each get 5 or 10 minutes or whatever the case might be, and so many questions, and the actor can, sit there for one afternoon and be interviewed by every major media outlet on the planet. Anyway, this one clip, and this is a short clip, an Irish journalist walks in. An Irish reporter walks in. And so Brosnan, when he hears the accent, he's, "Oh, whereabouts in Ireland are you from?" And the fellow says, "Well, this is where it's going to get interesting." He says, I'm from Navan. Now, Brosnan is from the same town. He grew up, he was born and raised in the same town until he was about 11. And when he hears this reporter's place of origin, everything about his demeanor changes. Now, I'm not saying he was stressed out before, and I'm not saying he's harsh. He's a harsh person. I'm not saying that he's unfriendly or that he's not a welcoming individual. I'm sure he's all those things and a bag of chips. What I'm saying is, as he sat there, and he was very polite, he's very trained. These guys have been doing this for a very long time. He's very trained. He knows to smile, and he knows to nod, and he knows to... That's a really good question, He knows all the ins and the outs of these interviews, and he knows how this whole thing's going to go, and he's probably answered the same questions over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And when this guy says, "Well, I'm from Navan," Brosnan, his demeanor immediately changes. He instantly softens. He instantly connects with this person. There is an instant relationship that is perfectly visible to anybody that's watching. "Oh, Navan. Oh, well, there." He reaches out. It's awfully nice to meet you, Thomas. Right? Everything about him becomes vulnerable and intimate. Like the bond between the two becomes intimate. And then the Thomas, to sort of, I think maybe to press the point home, he says, "Now, I was thinking when I watched this movie that you're the first superhero from Navan." And again, Brosnan, "Oh, I'm the first superhero from Navan. Oh, yes." As I was watching this, it just melts you. Right? You see the emotion in him, you see the connection, you see the bond, you see the love, you see the instant kinship, and it melts something in you. Your heart grows 5 times greater than what it was. And I thought to myself, I want people to see me respond to their presence the way Brosnan responded to this reporter when he found out that he was from the same hometown. I want people to see me, to experience me, to perceive me responding to their presence with that same warmth, that same intimacy, that same vulnerability, that same welcome, that same connectivity, that same desire to be in relationship. I want them to see my eyes shine, and I want them to see a smile, and I want them to know that I genuinely am loving this interaction, regardless of who they are, regardless of where they come from, regardless of of their ideology, their theology, their faith, regardless of any physical, geological, cultural differences. I want them to experience me the way that I imagine that reporter, Thomas, experienced Pierce Brosnan in that moment. That he felt like Brosnan really was thankful that he was there. That Brosnan really wanted to connect to him. Because I think that could make a difference in people's lives. And not just if I do it, but if we all do it. Right? Friend approaches. Oh, it's good to see you, Thomas. A stranger approaches. Oh, it's nice to meet you. I'm so grateful to be here with you. And maybe without the Irish accent that I seem to be dropping into, but you get what I'm saying. The Bible actually talks to us about how we should greet one another. And it talks to us about greeting each other intimately and vulnerably, softly, lovingly. That's how we are supposed to welcome people. That's how we're supposed to build relationship. The Bible is filled with passages and stories about the importance of hospitality, especially towards strangers, about making sure that people feel welcomed, as well as taking care of them, taking care of their physical needs and all other needs, really. The Bible is, in this regard, really, really quite clear, quite concise. And I can't think of a time where there's a contradiction where the Bible tells us, beat the stranger senseless. Make the stranger feel ridiculously uncomfortable. Make sure that there's barriers between you and everyone you encounter. No, it doesn't say anything like that. Greet them warmly, affectionately. It'll take practice. Right? It'll take practice for us to get to that place. But if we practice, if we're, as people approach us, if we are focused on being warm and gracious, if we're focused on looking at them and truly practicing, finding that connectivity between us that allows us to be vulnerable with them, because it's not something that we can just do. There has to be reason, and that reason is our commonality. What is it that we have in common? How is it that in you I see my brother or my sister? How is it that in the person who approaches us, who comes to us, we see kinship? We experience kinship. Perhaps it's because we speak the same language. Perhaps it's because we come from the same hometown. Perhaps it's because we share a culture. Perhaps it's our nationality. Perhaps it's the things that we do, the common play, the common work. Perhaps it's not something we can pinpoint. It's no physical thing. It's no thing that we can instantly find. Perhaps we have to look deeper. But in everyone we encounter, there is something that connects us. There is an ancient, beautiful commonality that we share. There is an ancient and beautiful connection between us all. Perhaps it's just a matter that the person we're looking at is a brother and sister as creations of God. Perhaps it's just that the person we're looking at is a person who, like us, was created in the image of God. And if that's all there is, that's enough. But let's practice greeting each other warmly. Let's practice greeting each other with love, with enthusiasm. Let's practice being people who respond to each other the way Brosnan responded to Thomas. Oh, there it is. It's good to meet you. With or without the Irish accent. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that we would welcome each other warmly, that we would welcome each other as brothers and sisters, regardless of what the connection actually is, what connection we can actually see. I pray that we would welcome each other as the children of God that we all are. Amen. Nemultus.